Today, I'm going to tell you, actually, me and my buddy Dan are going to tell you how to get successful fast. I know that you guys, you don't want to take the long path. You want some shortcuts. There's some, and I'm going to let Dan talk about this here. What's up, Bulldogs? John Sonmez here from BulldogMindset.com. Today, we're going to be talking about basically modeling, right? And I don't mean like, modeling, although both Dan and I could be models.
We could.
I think. Yeah, we could.
We could.
But I'm talking about like using other people's success to model how your behavior should be and how to achieve success. So I'm gonna let Dan, take it from here. But I want to ask you, the question. How do you get successful fast? How do you get rich fast? How does that happen?
Well, thinking even back then in my career, as I shared with you in my story before, that I was trying all these different business ideas and doing different things.
Right.
You think about in terms of becoming successful, it's actually simpler than what most people think.
Okay.
Everything that you want in life right now, someone else already has it.
That's a really good point. That's true.
Doesn't matter what it is you want. You need money, you need context, you need, it could be even relationship, right? Doesn't matter what it is. Resources, power, doesn't matter what it is. Whatever you want, someone else already has it. Somewhere in this world.
Right.
Right? So if you think about, if that's the case, let's take money for a second.
Okay.
Money is not created, money is simply transferred.
Right. Okay, yeah.
It's a value of value exchange.
Right.
Right? Making money is nothing more than a value exchange. Meaning, I am trading my product and services if I'm an entrepreneur.
Sure.
Right? I'm an employee, I'm trading my time, if I'm trading my expertise, my skills in exchange of money. Whatever it is that you want, someone else already has it.
Right.
So you think about in terms of, let's say, money, for example.
Okay.
Wealth is not created, wealth is transferred.
Right. Okay, yeah.
So it means somebody has it, how do you get them to transfer? So you look at money as an example, making money is nothing more than a value and value exchange.
Sure. Okay.
That's all money is.
Yeah,
right?
It's an IOU.
Is that right? It's
Yeah.
I am trading, so I am spending money, let's say I'm going to the restaurant. I'm
Okay.
spending money for the chef to cook this for me and the meal being prepared, right? You are trading your product and services if you're an entrepreneur. You're trading your time if you're an employee, your expertise, your skills in exchange of money.
Right.
It's all that is. So you think about that. If that is the case, if whatever I want, whatever you want in life, someone already has it, what we need to do is to develop the ability to be able to influence and persuade to someone for us to give us that.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, right.
Okay, so what I'm talking about, everything in life, I believe, this is my belief, you don't have to buy my belief, this is my belief, it's about closing.
Okay. All
because communication equals wealth. Everything is closing.
Right.
As an entrepreneur, when you are talking to customers, you're closing. When you're talking to your vendors, hey, can you give me better terms?
Right.
You're closing.
Right.
Right? When you are making a video,
okay, yeah.
you're closing.
Right.
On the phone, you are closing. You are single, you want a date, guess what? You're definitely closing.
Right.
You gotta close the
Yeah.
deal, okay? It's
True.
the same.
Yeah.
So everything that I've accomplished in my life, before that, I couldn't accomplish these things because I didn't know how to close.
And when you say close, because I think a lot of people hear sales or close, they're confused between the two. So define for me what exactly closing is. Is it selling? Is it the same thing? Is it something more than selling?
No, because the thing about sales,
Okay.
when I say the word, let's say, salesman, what comes to mind?
Like a sleazy person,
Sleazy,
probably. Right,
slimy, used car, snake oil, right?
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about.
Right.
All right. That's salesman, traditional old sales. I'm talking about, there's a difference between sales and closing.
Okay.
And there's a difference between being a closer and a salesman.
Okay.
I'm talking about being a closer.
Okay.
Steve Jobs is a closer.
Right. Okay.
He's on stage presenting, back then, remember iPhone.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Guess what? It's not a product presentation.
No.
He's closing on stage.
Yeah.
He's closing millions of people. Warren Buffett at his shareholder meeting, he's closing on why you should hold on to the stocks or buy more stocks.
Right.
Right? It's the same thing. Bill Gates, even his charity work on TV, he is what? Closing.
Right.
Everything that you want, someone else already has it. We need to have the ability to articulate idea, to communicate our value, to influence others
Okay.
to give us what we need
Right.
for their benefit, not just for us.
Right. And
For
that
them.
and I think that's one of the key points that a lot of people miss.
Yes, and I
Right.
always say, and this is maybe a bit too deep, but I'll share that with you.
Okay.
You need to think about this. Closing is not something that you do to somebody.
Right.
Closing is something that you do for somebody.
Right. Okay. Exactly.
Okay, meaning that it's a value exchange.
Right.
That if, example, let's say I have this product and it would cure cancer.
Right.
Okay, it's this amazing product, but if no one knows about it, how many people I'm going to help? Zero.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
If I cannot convince the pharmaceutical company to produce this, zero.
Right.
I'm not helping nobody. So, but if I have something good and I know it's good for people, then it's up to me, my ability to close people, to convince people that they need to do this, they need my product.
Right.
A lot of times people, they have this, how many know people, I'm sure, you know people who've got great products.
Right.
They've got great talents.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
They've got great skill sets. And yet, they are not getting what they want, or they're making the money that they want
Exactly.
because people don't know about them,
Yeah.
or people don't buy from them, or people don't trust them.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's that simple.
Oh, yeah.
Versus, there are other people, maybe they have a less quality product, a less quality service,
Right.
a less qualified skill, but yet they are experiencing more success. Why? Because they know how to communicate and they know how to close. It's that
Exactly.
simple. That is the gap. So whatever it is that you want to be more successful, don't just work on the thing. You need to work on the thing that sells the thing.
Right. Okay. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not about the thing, it's the
Right.
thing that sells the thing. And that thing is closing.
Okay.
That's the bridge. If you are a good closer, it enhances everything that you do.
Right.
Everything that you do. I don't care if it's you're working in a corporate job, you will get promoted faster because you could close.
Because you always need something from someone.
Somebody.
You always need someone to convince someone, to persuade people to do something.
If you're a manager,
Right.
if you're a CEO, guess what? You're closing. You are closing all the time. You're selling your vision to your employees.
Right.
You're selling them why they should perform better. You're motivating. That's all closing.
Right.
All this is closing, right? If you are an entrepreneur, of course, you're closing all the time.
Sure. Okay.
Because closing is the only thing that brings in revenue to the company.
Right.
Period. Everything else is cost.
Yeah.
Right? Only when you're closing. Oh, what about marketing? Guess what? Marketing is just another form of closing. It's just to a large audience.
Right.
It's the same. Like when we're making a video, this is closing.
Right.
When you're communicating an idea that people may or may not be aware of, you need to first close them on why that's a good idea
Okay. Right.
before they do anything.
Right.
Right? So this ability, which is not taught in school,
Right. Exactly.
it
Yeah.
is not taught in school. That's what's going to accelerate your success more than anything else. Nobody likes to talk about it. Nobody even sometimes thinks about it,
Right.
which is all I work on. You think about my career. Remember I shared with you copywriting. Well, copywriting is nothing more closing in print.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same idea.
Right. You're coming
Topics.
up with everything ahead of time.
Words,
all the
it's
objections,
same.
everything.
It's
they're
the
gonna,
same idea. Public speaking.
Yeah.
You are shifting people's beliefs. You're giving them a new ideas. You are educating them. That's all closing.
Right.
That's what makes me an effective teacher, because I am selling them on a new way of being, a new way of operating.
Sure.
Right? Because
Exactly.
the old way of operating is not working. But if I just dump data or just dump information on them, that doesn't create change.
Exactly.
You know, to create change, I need to sell them on the idea why it's a good idea to make that change. So they want to make that change,
Right.
right? So it's like in closing, I teach this in my class. How do you know you're a good closer? It's when you convince someone, when you persuade someone, maybe you're selling a product service. By the end of the conversation, they say thank you. That's when you
Exactly.
know
Yeah.
you're good.
Yeah.
That's when you know you're good. So I think that's the number one skill.
And it shouldn't just be superficial, right? Also, it's because I think sometimes people hear this and they hear kind of a message like you're saying, and they're saying, "Oh, well, you're just manipulating people. Oh, you're just I've always kind of said that the difference between manipulation and leadership is the same exact skill. It's just whether it's your benefit or their benefit.
100%.
Right. So what how do you address that when people say that? Oh, well, you just snowed them into saying thank you, right?
I believe the only difference, persuasion versus manipulation, is intent.
Right.
That's the only difference.
Yep.
If you are doing it for your agenda, for a selfish reason, you're manipulating people, then shame on you. But if you are doing it because you know this is what helped them.
Right.
I'll give you a perfect example. People tell, well, I don't want to sell people that something they don't want to do. I don't want to sell something that they don't want to, right? The example I use, do you think it's a good idea to sell someone who is a smoker to quit smoking?
Right, yeah, obviously, sure.
Do you think it's a good idea to sell an overweight person to go on a diet and exercise more?
Sure, definitely.
Even if he or she doesn't want to do it?
Right.
Do you think it's a good idea to sell a drug addict to get off drugs?
Right, yeah.
People don't want to do it.
Right.
But if you believe in what you do, then I believe if your intent is pure,
right,
then you do everything you possibly could to close. I have no problem selling. I have zero guilt, zero hesitation, talk about what I do, promote what I do, because I believe in what I do.
Right.
I believe in what I sell. And I know, sometimes I tell people, I sit down with someone, I tell them, you know what? I'm going to sell you something that you don't even know that you need it yet.
Right.
And I'll tell them, and by the time I'm done, you're going to say thank you. And they're like, what? What is going on?
Yeah.
But then when they do make the purchase, and they're like, you know what? You're right. Thank you. Because most people don't know.
Now, I was going to say one of the things that the next pushback that I think that people have with this is they say, well, Dan, yeah, John, you guys are great. Yeah, you're doing it for me. You're doing it to benefit me. Sure, but why are you taking money then? Because really you're just trying to get my money. Or why not just do it for free? Just do it for charity if you're going to just try and help people.
It's very simple. 2 reasons. Number 1, when there's no skin in the game, there's no game. Mm-hmm. People don't value something that's free.
For sure, yeah.
The more people pay for something, the more they value it.
Right.
Whatever you pay attention. When it's free, there's no value. Imagine, John, how many times have you ever had a chance like just sit down with someone, you give them your free advice, you try to help them, right?
Oh, yeah,
you try to pull your heart out,
right?
You spend all that time with them.
Yeah, no. But if they pay me $2,000 an hour for coaching, they're going to follow that.
They're gonna fucking make sure they use it.
Exactly.
That's the difference, right? That's number 1.
Yeah.
And number 2, what's wrong with making money?
Exactly, right, yeah.
I have no guilt.
Agree.
That's you're projecting your value on me. Mm-hmm. You have a problem with making money, I don't. Because money earned is a byproduct of value creation.
Right.
So I believe the more value I deliver, the more money I make.
For sure.
Like I said, it's a value and value exchange. I don't have a problem with that. You do have a problem with that.
Right.
Right? And if you think about in that kind of context, you think about how money works, if making money is a value and value exchange, and making money is a byproduct of value creation. It's like the retirement we talk about.
Right.
You've heard of the saying, people talk about, I think it's a stupid thing people say about, you may have heard of this before. Oh yeah, I love this so much, I would do it for free. Right? I would do it for no money.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it. But I think a more powerful way of looking at it is I love this so much, it's the only thing I would do for money.
Exactly. It reminds me of Stephen Pressfield's book, War of Art, and he talks about the difference between a professional and an amateur.
Yes.
And he says that that the amateur, he does it. He doesn't do it for money, right? He does it because it's his passion or his thing. The professional does it because it is for money. That's one of the key definitions that defines what a professional is.
So what's the problem with that? What's the problem with that? And,
Yeah.
and you know what? I don't blame you because I used to think that way as well when I was broke. Oh, I don't want to spend money. I don't want to do this. I want to spend money on. I did all that stuff. Didn't work.
Right.
Didn't work.
Yeah.
You can argue all you want. You can be right or you can be rich. You can argue all you want and don't spend a dime.
Right.
Don't read the book. Don't attend the course. But look at your life and ask yourself, which one weighs more?
Right.
Right? Your ego, your bank account.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's a really good point too. I think a lot of people, the whole idea of closing or anything that's anywhere in the realm of sales, it threatens them because you have to put yourself out there to do it, and you have to overcome some insecurities. It's hard to ask people for the thing. It's hard to ask the girl the question.
And get
right?
rejections, right?
Yeah.
And being, feeling that you'll be embarrassed.
Right, yeah.
And what would people think of me? And by the way, all this stuff is all your internal insecurities.
Yeah.
Which I think both Joe and I, we've overcome where we came from, right?
For sure, yeah.
When you were the nerdy, coder, right? Overweight, right?
Exactly.
From where I was being the kid, being bullied, the invisible kid in school.
Yeah.
Had no friends to where we are today. Because we've made a decision and say, you know what, we don't want to live that life anymore.
Right.
We don't want to settle anymore. What are some of the skills that I need to develop to be successful? Which part of it is a lot of closing and communication.
Right, exactly.
Once you have this piece, everything works. Because it doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter what job you're in. It doesn't matter what business you're in. It doesn't matter. But you notice the entrepreneurs who struggle, horrible closers.
Right, yeah.
They
exactly.
can close worth of shit.
They don't want to be pushy.
They don't. That's why they cannot bring in
Yeah.
revenue. Mm-hmm. No company goes out of business because too much revenue.
Right.
They don't know how to bring. They are not the rainmakers for the company.
Yeah.
And that's why they struggle.
Yeah, everyone wants it to kind of be this meritocracy when the world doesn't really work that way. The very first, it's interesting that you said about no one knows who you are. The very first digital product that I actually sold for my other company, Simple Programmer, was how to market yourself as a software developer. And the whole basis of it was, because it was my own career, is I realized I was a really good programmer, but no one knew. I wasn't on any podcasts, I wasn't on any YouTube channels, I didn't have a blog. Once I started making those things and people knew who I was, all of a sudden I'm making all kinds of money. People are hiring me for a few $100s an hour, where before I was making $50 an hour. And that was, the difference was being willing to do that, right?
I'll give you one last point.
Okay,
Think
yeah.
about that. If, let's say, take programming for example.
Okay.
Let's say on a 1 out of 10, you are like a 9 out of 10 in terms of programming skill.
Sure.
And there are people out there, they may be like 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10. They are less skill, less quality. Okay?
Right.
But the problem is because you lack the ability to close.
Right.
So now people out there, they're hiring these 3 and 4 programmers who
Exactly.
are not as good as you.
Right.
So you think about, I'm a 9, I'm 10 out of 10, and people are hiring them. So I want you to think about, because of your insecurities, because your lack of ability to close, because your lack of confidence,
Right.
what are you actually doing? You are not closing, you are ripping people off.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the way that I see it. You are ripping people off because they could have had a better experience, a better service, a better product, because you don't get out there, they don't know you, they cannot buy from you.
Right.
You're ripping people off. You're ripping yourself off
Sure.
from the potential income that you could make. You're ripping your family off because the lifestyle that you could have provided for them.
Right.
So this is the way I look at it. Closing is not dirty. Closing is not stymie. Closing is not evil. Closing is noble. It's pure. That's what makes the world go. If you believe in what you do, then you close. If you don't believe in what you do, then don't close.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. But if you truly believe in what you do, I believe, then you do everything you possibly could
Right. Yeah.
to close them.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. Yeah, everyone is wanting to believe that if they build the best product, have the best service, that people will identify
Not
it.
about that.
And
There's no relationship between
Yeah.
being good at what you do and getting paid.
Yeah.
There's a huge relationship between being good at what you do, being able to close, and getting paid.
Right. Exactly. Awesome, Dan. This is really good, valuable information. Hopefully my audience has learned a little bit about closing. If you guys want to learn more about what Dan talked about, closing, Actually, I took his actual course on this, but there's a better step that you can do right now to start off, which is go ahead and click in the description. There's going to be the first link. It's going to be a masterclass, a free masterclass that Dan and myself are going to be putting on. You guys are going to want to join that because Dan is going to be sharing a lot of his secrets, a lot of his valuable information about closing, and a lot of stuff that we've talked about.
And I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. You will click on the link. You will join the masterclass, which will be about 2 hours. Within 2 hours, I will educate and empower you with some new insights and information.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, and at the end of that masterclass, I'm going to close you.
I like it. All right.
I'm going to close you.
Right. Good.
Let's see.
I like it. Awesome. All right, guys. That's it. I'll talk to you next time. And thanks again, Dan. Take care.
Take care.
All right. I like that. That's good. That's good. Did exactly what you said. Yeah.